Buenos dias, bon dia, buongiorno, bonjour. Hello, I am Richard Rose, the Hemp Nut. I've been a food professional in the vegan food industry for 40 years and pioneered the hemp food industry in North America starting 26 years ago. Today, I'm retired and write the Richard Rose Report and consult. At the Richard Rose Report, there are many free downloads on hemp and original information as well. Hemp seed is a high complete protein, high omega-3 crop and can be used in almost any recipe or commercial food. It tastes like pinola or girasol and can be eaten raw. It is mankind's first cultivated crop, twice as old as soya for food. I wrote 2 cookbooks on it and another book as well, and made many commercial foods with it. Although introduced in only 1996, today shelled hemp seed is 90% of Canadian hemp. It was the first big change in hemp in 12,000 years, using the seed as a commercial food. So you are probably expecting me to tell you why you should grow hemp for seed for food in tropical latitudes. But I'm not, because that would be a very bad idea. The co-evolution of cannabis with humans has developed natural divisions for real botanical reasons. Hemp, or cannabis low in resin or THC, naturally became a temperate latitude crop. That's why the traditional hemp producing areas were in Europe, Russia, and China, including today with Canada and the US as well. The dividing line has traditionally been 35 degrees latitude. Certified or approved varieties are bred for the latitudes between 40 and 65 degrees. Meanwhile, high THC cannabis, or what Americans call marijuana, naturally developed in the tropics, which is between 23 degrees latitude north to 23 degrees south, with the equator right down the middle. That's why the traditional drug cannabis nations are Jamaica, Colombia, India, Thailand, Malawi, and the like. The reason for this is natural and follows the laws of botany as they apply to cannabis, which is a highly morphological plant. That is, it changes and adapts to the conditions and environment around it, including hours of light, soil, and stressors. Take a hemp seed from Canada and plant it at the equator, and it will become a very different plant. Moving even 1 degree south affects it. Understand that as a photoperiod cannabis plant senses the number of sunlight hours approaching 12, it begins to flower after its long vegetative state where it gets bigger. Tropical countries receive around 12 to 13 hours of sunlight during their summer. For hemp, that creates 2 problems. With fewer summertime hours of light, the plant doesn't get as big and it will flower way too early. You need a late flowering genetic in those latitudes. At 65 degrees latitude north, they get 20 hours of sunlight in the summer, allowing bigger plants, more biomass. Look at a world map, whereas some of the greatest land masses in the north are north of 40 degrees latitude. In the southern hemisphere, you have very little acreage to work with south of 40. And if your country defines hemp as 0.3% maximum THC, you are destined to fail. The THC in resin content naturally rises as it is moved towards the equator. Responsible tropical countries set 1% as the maximum THC, unlike Europe, where it is 0.2%, or the US and Canada, where it is 0.3%. I'm not saying you can't work around this natural limitation. You can breed a new day-neutral or auto-flowering variety, or supplement with light in the field. but only once you realize it is an issue to work around. If you think you can grow a Canadian variety outdoors in the tropics, it will fail. The other problem is a big one in the US. Male hemp releasing pollen and pollinating downwind marijuana. It thereby seeds what is meant to be a seedless crop, increasing costs and reducing potency. It is bad for community relations, losing $100 in cannabinoid value to gain $1 in hemp. Many traditional drug cannabis nations have existing indigenous legacy varieties which are already acclimated to your area and have been for hundreds or thousands of years. Find, identify, catalog, and develop those before foreign hemp or marijuana pollen pollutes them irrevocably. The next wonder drug could come from a rare cannabinoid found in them, and since they already thrive in your region, breed with them to make new varieties and register them to protect your inventions. The one exception to developing a seed industry is this. Many outdoor marijuana areas produce way more seed than they need to plant the next crop. In Jamaica, I estimated a few years ago, they discard 3,400 tons of seed. Despite being from ganja and not industrial hemp, they are just as edible and nutritious, perhaps even more so. Properly cleaned, they will not get anyone high. Develop an industry to feed locals using that seed, shell it, or press for oil. Despite all this, if you are still serious about creating a fiber industry in your tropical country, start with Canaf, that's Hibiscus cannabinus. It loves southern latitudes, grows more fiber than hemp, produces edible seed, and won't pollinate your neighbor's cannabis. The decortication infrastructure is the same, and in the future you can always pivot to or add hemp to the processing line. So then, if not hemp or seed or fiber, what? The obvious answer is cannabinoids and terpenes. There is more demand for them, it's easier to process and develop products with them, they command a higher price, and they heal people and animals. What I suggest you do is get a license from your government to manufacture and export finished pharmaceutical products and active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs. To do so, you will need, of course, to grow the cannabinoid producing plants first. Don't do one without the other. They are inextricably linked. Legally grow the cannabis, properly process it, then produce finished products and ingredients to sell in your country and abroad to pharmaceutical companies and distributors. That is the best cannabis model for tropical nations, not hemp. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me at The Richard Rose Report. That's therichardrosereport.com. Ciao.